16-year-old Shido Itsuka is a seemingly average high school student who lives with his younger sister Kotori in a world where 30 years ago a massive spacequake occurred, resulting in the deaths of 150 million. He has gotten used to living in a world where he has to be constantly fearful for his life and the life of his dear sister, never knowing when it will be their last day. One day while in school, an alarm goes off warning everyone to huddle up in the bunkers and the safe zones, as another massive spacequake was going to hit Japan in a couple of minutes. Shido is terrified at the thought that his sister wouldn't be able to get into a bunker, so he checks her GPS location and, to his horror, spots her phone near a diner. He abandons the bunker and runs outside to the safe zone into the completely deserted wilderness. Just as he reaches the diner, the spacequake hits the area very close to him, making him unconscious. When he regains consciousness, he goes near the epicenter of the earthquake and is horrified to see a beautiful girl emanating a violet aura standing there with a giant sword. She glances at him and delivers a slash in the air whose impact travels to him but misses him by inches, destroying the buildings behind him. She charges at him with the intent to kill, but before she can do anything, she is interrupted by the arrival of 5 girls in a combat suit wearing a jetpack, who shoot a bunch of missiles at her. She uses a force field to defend both herself and Shido with relative ease and destroys the next set of missiles with her sword. One of the girls lands in front of her with a rifle to kill her, but backs off when she slashes her rifle into pieces with her sword. Shido recognizes the girl in the combat suit as Tobichi, the class genius. The mysterious girl delivers an energy slash, which Tobichi dodges and draws her own energy sword to attack her. Their swords clash and they start throwing a barrage of slashes and counters at each other too fast for him to even follow. They back off and launch a charged attack at each other, and when their swords clash, a massive energy ball is created with a huge shockwave that knocks him out. He is awoken by a strange woman who directs him to the ship's commander. He is astounded to discover that the person everyone refers to as commander is none other than his beloved younger sister, Kotori. He is visibly confused, but Kotori tells him that there is no time to waste. She explains that these massive quakes are formed when these extraterrestrial beings called spirits descend on Earth. The cause of their descent is unknown, but whenever they come to Earth, they cause massive destruction. To combat this, the government has created an anti-spirit team, or AST. She tells him to go back to school and that the next day they will begin his training. The following day, on arriving in his class, he learns that the strange woman who took him to Kotori is now their assistant homeroom teacher, named Murasama Raina. He goes to a control room where Raina and Kotori are waiting for him, and they disclose that the training he is going to get is actually from a dating simulator that they designed. Shido keeps playing the game for weeks, and after he has completed it, Kotori asks him to try it on actual people. The first person he meets when he comes to school is his homeroom teacher, whom he is able to charm after getting directions from Raina. And the second person he collides with turns out to be Tobichi. He follows the advice given by Raina and is able to successfully ask Tobichi out on a date. To him, this was all a training program, but unbeknownst to him, Tobichi takes it seriously. An alarm goes off and Kotori tells him to evacuate the school as the epicenter of this quake is going to be his school. The spirit turned out to be the same one who caused the last quake, and the government named her Princess. She goes inside the now destroyed school, and the AST are unable to follow because they are designed to fight in open areas. Kotori orders him to go inside the school and try to charm the spirit. Shido discovers the princess standing in the classroom looking depressed. He's able to strike up a conversation with her and express his love for her. She reveals that she doesn't know her name or her past, and she doesn't know how she came to this planet. She just opened her eyes and she happened to be here, and the next thing she knew was the AST attacking her. He gives her the name Toka, and she seems delighted about it. The AST outside starts blasting the princess with their guns, which she blocks with her force field. When the dust clears, Tobichi spots Shido and misinterprets that he has been taken hostage. Unable to contain her feelings for him, she defies the order and attacks Toka with her energy sword. Toka blocks the attack, pulls out her own sword, and lands a massive blow. Tabichi gets hurt in the process, and the school is destroyed. The next day, he visits the school to see what is left of it and turns around to see Toka standing behind him. She tells him that she is here for the date that he promised her. Shido takes Toka out on a date into the city, which is filled with people. She is immediately taken by the variety of tasty food present around her. He asks her about her disappearance, and she tells him that she is sent to a different dark world where she sleeps, and then she is violently woken up from her sleep and sent to Earth, causing massive quakes. This time there weren't any quakes because she actively decided to come to Earth on her own. At the end of the date, Shido asks her to stay with her forever, and he will take care of any problem that comes with it. But before she can reply, he notices something and pushes her away. He gets accidentally shot by a sniper wielding Tabichi, who wanted to kill Toka but accidentally hit him. He lays down bleeding to death, and Toka is horrified. Tabichi gets stunned by this and sits there unable to move, while Toka, unable to restrain her grief and anger over Shido's death, summons her astral dress and her sword and starts attacking Tabichi at full force. Tabichi is guarded by a force field, but Toka is able to break through it. Just as she was about to kill Tabichi, she hears him screaming her name and notices that he is falling from the sky. Shido is mysteriously alive, and she catches him mid-flight. She exclaims that she has lost control of her sword and that it will cause a massive earthquake that will destroy the city at any time. He grabs her and they kiss, which causes her sword to break into pieces and stops the disaster. Toka gets enrolled in Shido's school as the newly transferred student and even starts living with him in his house. Kotori informs Shido that Toka is not the only spirit around. There are more like her, and to seal their powers, he has to kiss them. The next day at school, a quake warning is issued. He leaves Toka with his homeroom teacher and rushes off with Raina to group up with Kotori. The quake that happens turns out to be a small one, caused by a seemingly docile spirit that looks like a young girl called the Hermit. He recognized the girl as the one he saw near the shrine one day, playing by herself in the rain. The AST started attacking the Hermit, but instead of fighting back, she just ran away. She enters a building and Shido is sent inside to talk to her. The Hermit finds him and starts talking to him through her puppet. She introduces herself as Yoshino and asks him whether he wants to hurt her. He refuses, and the childish Yoshino starts climbing on the bars and boxes, playing by herself. She slips and starts falling. He tries to save her but accidentally ends up kissing her. Toka sees all this happening and is enraged by it. She grabs Yoshino's puppet when it makes fun of her, which ends up ruining Yoshino's mood. She calls another worldly being known as an angel, which looks like a giant rabbit. She uses it to dart out of the building and disappears before the AST can catch her. The next day, Shido spots Yoshino searching for something near the building. He approaches her and tells her he is here to help. Yoshino tells him that she can't find her puppet after the AST attacked her. He promises to find the puppet for her. Kotori contacts him and sends him to Tabichi's place, as that is where the puppet is. He's able to retrieve the puppet, but he notices that the AST is after Yoshino again. He climbs on top of a building and calls for Yoshino, who stops but is attacked again by the AST. Yoshino loses control of her angel and is about to blast him with her freeze ray, but Toka arrives at the last moment and shields him with her sword. He's able to reach her and uses the puppet to calm her down. She starts crying and he comforts her. He asks Yoshino whether he could kiss her, as it would seal her powers away and she wouldn't have to deal with the AST again. A new girl is transferred to Shido's class. She introduces herself as Kurumi and claims that she is a spirit in front of the entire class. Shido walks back with Toka, and a young girl named Mana stops him, claiming to be his little sister, and shows him a necklace with pictures of both of them when they were young. The next day, Kurumi seems to be late for school, and Tabichi claims that she is not going to come to school anymore. But to her horror, Kurumi enters the class like nothing happened. He goes to the control room in their school to meet with Reina and Kotori, who show him footage from the day prior that shows that Mana is a member of AST. Shido asks Kurumi out on a date to learn more about her, but he is also forced to go on dates with both Toka and Tobichi on the same day. He is somehow able to go on a date with all three of them, but when he came back towards Kurumi, he tries to run away, but ethereal hand projections arise from around Kurumi and grab Shido. She jumps on top of him, but before she could do anything, she is thrown away by a mysterious force that turns out to be Mana. Mana attacks Kurumi with her lasers, which she dodges, but Mana is able to control the direction of her lasers and hits Kurumi from multiple directions. The next day at school, he meets Kurumi again and tells her that he is going to save her and not let her kill any more people no matter what. Kurumi smirks and goes to the terrace where he encompasses the entire school in a force field, making everyone extremely weak. Shido is the only one who can actually walk, and Kurumi calls him to the roof. When he reaches the roof, he notices that Kurumi is already in her astral dress, and she exclaims that she is going to cause a massive space quake, while all the people inside the school are incapacitated. He threatens her by saying that if she doesn't release everyone and stop the quake, he will take his own life. She calls his bluff, but he actually ends up jumping off the roof. Kurumi uses her teleportation skills to save him, stopping the earthquake from happening and releasing the school from the weakening field. Just when it seems like Kurumi is changed, an arm tears through her torso and she dies. She tries to move towards
Subscribe to watch more videos like this. Turn on notifications. And leave a like, it really helps the channel out. Thank you for watching.